Okay, we're officially recording. So let me officially kick this off. I'm excited to have lots of you here with us today. This is a very special call. Today, we are taking you behind the scenes into our Get Social Smart Mastermind. I am excited to talk about this very special event. This is a very special event that we only host once a year. It is coming up in November, which sounds like it's far away, but it'll be here before we know it. And so I love to take some time to talk about what this event is all about. I'm going to take you kind of behind the scenes of what it is, what it's all about, who it's for. If it's right for you, you might be tuning in because you're just curious. Maybe you've heard me talk about it. Maybe you have come to some of our events in the past and you're just curious what it's all about. So however you are here with us, welcome. I'm excited to have you guys here. And this is, like I said, we're hosting the Zoom meeting style. So if you'd like to be on camera and you are camera ready, of course, you can always turn your camera on. If not, no worries. You can use the chat in the chat box too. And I would just love to hear really quick where you guys are tuning in from. So if you wouldn't mind, you can type in the chat box. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And also, if you could just give me a quick yes and let me know that you can hear me okay. Let me know that my sound is coming through loud and clear. I always like to do a little bit of a tech check. So you should see a little chat. But if you're driving, don't do this, by the way. I know some of you might be multitasking. All right. Anne is here. Awesome. Good to see you. Thank you for being here on our call. Hey, Michelle. Good to see you from South Carolina. Fred is here from TC. Fantastic. Dominique is in Las Vegas. Perfect. Well, it's even more perfect that you're tuning in, right? Because we're talking all about Vegas. I love it. Awesome. All right. So the format today, we're going to go for about an hour. Everything is recorded as always. And if you have questions, you can either unmute or just type it in the chat, and I'm happy to answer any questions as we go through our time together today. So let's go ahead and get started. So what are we going to cover today? Really, the purpose of this webinar, like I said, this is a little bit of a different webinar, but this is a little bit of a different Zoom because we're taking you behind the scenes. We're opening up the curtain, so to speak. And really the goal is to cover three big things. I'm going to talk about a full behind the scenes experience of what our Get Social Smart Mastermind is all about. We have released the dates. The dates are officially in November. It's November 16th, 17th, and 18th at the beautiful Bellagio Resort in Las Vegas. We're going to take you behind the scenes. We're going to talk about who the event's for, what is included, all the behind the scenes. I'm also going to talk about the agenda. We've got some exciting things that we have planned. So we're going to talk about an exclusive breakdown of what these immersive mastermind days are all about. We're going to talk about some of our just fun stuff that we do, from coaching, VIP days, hands-on content creation, all kinds of good stuff. And at the end, obviously, we'll talk about the investment. How much is it? What does it look like? One thing I'll mention just right off the bat is the big thing that's very different about this event than other events is it's very, very small. This isn't one of those big conferences where there's 1,000 people. So it's very small. It's very hands-on. And if you've ever wanted to sit face-to-face with me and get some coaching time, get some advice, work with other like-minded folks in a small group environment, you guys know, as much as I love social media, I love technology, but I still really, really believe there is nothing like in person. There's nothing like face to face. So we'll get into those details in a minute. So first off, again, the dates, if you are writing anything down or taking any notes, it's November 16th, 17th, and 18th. We are hosting it at the beautiful Bellagio in Las Vegas. And we host it in Las Vegas for a few different reasons. I have been probably dozens of times over the past decade or so for fun, but also for business. If you've been to any conferences, many conferences are held in Vegas. And we hosted in Vegas for a couple reasons. First off, we really feel like Vegas knows how to do events better than anybody. The hospitality and the service that is provided is really unmatched in a lot of ways. It's also really convenient. We know that there are a lot of costs these days with airfare and travel. And one of the nice parts about having the Vegas is being able to have folks who come to the mastermind from all over. We've had folks from Canada, East Coast, West Coast, middle of the country, and being able to get somewhat of a direct flight and not spend a whole lot of money on transportation is great. And if you've ever been to Vegas, you know when you land, you are like 10 minutes from the strip, from all the hotels. So the convenience is really amazing. I just added Lindsay here. Welcome, Lindsay. Thanks for being here with us today. So we find it's a great place. And the Bellagio is one of my favorite places in Vegas. It's an absolutely beautiful resort if you've never been there. So I want to give you just a little bit of a backstory before I tell you about the Get Social Smart Mastermind, which is happening in November. So this is a picture of my husband, Paul, and I. Paul and I have been married almost 25 years. We've been in business almost 14 years. He is my partner in life, partner in business, and he is kind of the behind the scenes guy in a lot of ways. So he handles a lot of our business development and the customer service and just all of many of the business pieces of running a business. And we brainstormed many years ago on what we could do outside of the academy and outside of a lot of our online training. And really, we came to this realization that we wanted to do something different. So I asked this because whether you've been in real estate, a few months, a few years, a few decades, you've probably realized there's no shortage of real estate events. It's just one of the reasons why, as a speaker, I'm always at many real estate events. There's no shortage of events. So we really wanted something a lot different in a lot of ways. So I've been teaching in the real estate space for 2 decades. I believe I started in 2005. So 21 years that I've been teaching in the real estate space. So I've seen all different kinds of events. And what we really wanted with our event was something more meaningful, more personal, more transformational, more hands-on, more actionable. I have found from going to a lot of events over the years that you come to events, you have, the best of intentions, you bring your notes, you take lots of notes, you go home, and then the notes just kind of fade away, right? Like we get back to business. And so we really wanted something that was more hands-on, more actionable. We also have no sponsors. And this is something that's a pretty big deal if you've been to any event. And we actually have a pretty strict no selling policy. So when you come to the mastermind, you're not going to get pitched by me. You're not going to get pitched by our speakers. We don't have any sponsors. There's nobody in the back selling something. And this is something we've done since the beginning. We started this back in 2018. That was our very first mastermind. And then outside of COVID, we had a little break in there. But this year coming up in November will be our 8th mastermind. We only host it once a year. So here's a couple pictures from our last event. We held it at the Bellagio last year, and we've had this event all different sizes. We've always kept it pretty small. We've usually kept it kind of in the 10 to 15 person range. And one of the things we did different last year that we're going to be repeating this year is we are keeping it even smaller. Last year, we had a very small group, and we are focused this year on keeping it really small. And just full disclosure, our max attendance is about 7 or 8. I would say 8 max, which means we just have 5 spots left. And this is why this event is much different than any other event you've really been to, most likely, because it's small, right? When you're in a room with 5, 6, 7, 8 people, there's no hiding. There's no running outside to make a call to a client, like you're there, right? And I'm going to go into kind of the details of some of the things that we do during the mastermind. It's a couple things. First of all, it's a once-a-year retreat. It takes an inordinate amount of work that me and my husband and our team do to put this together. It is sort of part retreat, but also really primarily strategy. You learn a lot from myself and our speakers, but this is also a time for you to get work done. You'll see a lot of pictures of the event where you see people on their computers and people with their notepads and they're writing out their plans. I have found from being in business 14 years and teaching in this space for more than 20 years that for a lot of us, we spend so much time working in the business, we don't always have time to work on the business. And I would love to know if that resonates with you. Let me know in the chat, yes or no. Do you ever feel like you spend so much time working in the business that you don't always have time to work on the business? Let me know in the chat. Just give me a quick yes or no. I think it's really easy when you're in the day-to-day of emails and clients and I got to do this and what's coming up and this is going on tomorrow, that it's really difficult to take a step back to go, okay, well, where do I want to be? Where do I want my business and my life to be in 5 or 10 years, in the next year, in the next 12 months? And we have folks who come back to the mastermind each and every year because they know that they could do that planning by themselves, but it's also a lot easier when you're in a room with like-minded people who are doing it all at the same time. And it's a pretty magical thing at the end of, 2.5, 3 days that people are walking away with their full plan done for the year. It is such a feeling of relief and a plan that is not a cookie cutter plan, a plan that is really meant for them. So as you can see on the screen here, it's not a conference with hundreds of people. It's a small group strategy retreat. It's a really intimate, hands-on experience where really you're able to step away from your day-to-day. We ask all of our attendees, put your out of office on and spend those days working on your business. Yeah, and I know I can relate. It's so easy to spend so much time in the business that's how the days and the months fly by. So again, being able to kind of take a look at your business and where you're at and get that planning done, I think is huge. So together in the mastermind, one of the big things that we do is we plan out your next year. So imagine leaving. If you can imagine, where you're going to be in November. We do this event November 16th, 17th, and 18th, which means if you're in the US, that next week is Thanksgiving. And then a few weeks later are the holidays, right? So imagine leaving on November 18th and having your whole plan done, locked and loaded. and not just a plan, but really dialed into who you want to serve, who are your key people, what's your branding all about, what's your messaging, and really getting some clarity around what that content looks like and getting those questions answered. I can't tell you, one of the things I love probably the most about the mastermind is just the hands-on. We have attendees who will come up and they'll say, okay, I'm trying to do this. Like, where's that button on my phone? Or how do I do that? And sometimes it's just those small tweaks that cannot happen in a Zoom, right? So together we'll map out your 2027 content plan. We're going to clarify your marketing strategy, brainstorm ideas, help you create a plan. One of the things we do with all of our attendees is before the event, I do a personal one-on-one Zoom call with all of our attendees because I want to know, who are you? What's your business all about? What are your business goals? Do you want to stay small? Do you want to stay as a solo agent? Are you happy with a couple transactions a month and you're a busy person? Or maybe you want to grow a team, or maybe you have aspirations to become a broker, or maybe you also on the side want to do coaching. Like, everybody runs a different business. I think that's one of the beautiful parts about real estate. It's one of the reasons I love serving this industry, is because there's no like right way to do it. Everybody does it a little bit different. So because this is a small event, because we limit it to, 7 or 8 attendees, we're able to customize it based on what you need and what our attendees are looking for, which we absolutely love. So, in addition to mapping out your plan and really working on your business, you're going to get coaching and feedback, accountability, and connection with other agents from all different markets. It's really fascinating. I can tell you every year from doing this event the last 8 years is we get people in all different pockets, from Southern California to Washington to New York and Chicago and Texas and Florida and Canada. And the beautiful part about that is when you are in a safe space and you can collaborate and connect with people, what works in Florida might work in Texas, it might work in California. And having that sharing in a safe space where everyone's in different markets makes it really, really exciting. And I would also say one of the things that's on this slide right here is the coaching piece of it. This is something that we started last year and we are 100% including it in this year. And it's the ability to have small one-on-one coaching throughout the mastermind. So if you could imagine sitting in a beautiful suite, you're at this beautiful suite at the Bellagio, you're learning from me, you're learning from our speakers, you're getting some time to work on your plan, getting some time to create some content, but you're also getting some time to be like, you know what? I need to go talk to Katie for 15 minutes. Or I need to talk to who's the speaker over there. I need some clarification on this issue on my business. And having those little kind of bursts of coaching time at one-on-one time, I find just absolutely invaluable. So that's something that you'll also get inside of the mastermind. And also, as I mentioned, if you joined us a few minutes late, there's no sponsors. And this is a really big deal. If you've been to any events, at least like from my experience, every third person on stage is selling something, right? There's always people in the back of the room, hey, buy my book, buy my coaching, buy da 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 da. So we've made it really as part of our policy, as part of what we do, it's a no selling zone, which means at the end of the mastermind, I'm not going to pitch you, our speakers aren't going to pitch you. There's nobody at the back of the room selling anything. So I think that's really valuable, and that's something that we're really proud of. So, okay, let me know if you have any questions so far. If you just joined us, welcome, welcome. We're just giving you the behind the scenes into the mastermind. I would also be curious, for those of you who are listening live, have you ever been to an event like this? Have you ever been to like a small group mastermind? Let me know in the chat, just a quick yes or no, if you've been to a mastermind like this, or if you are part of any kind of small mastermind or accountability group. Just curious if you could put in the chat yes or no, if you are part of a group or thought of being part of a group. Yes, no, maybe, all that good stuff. I ask that because from talking to a lot of folks, we have hundreds of people inside of our academy. And I would say that really for a lot of folks, what has helped them take their business to the next level is to be in some sort of, whether it's an accountability group or mastermind group, to get that, that sort of small group collaboration and learning that I think really helps. The exciting thing about our mastermind is it's not just an event, it's actually an event plus ongoing support, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And I think the nice part about this, again, I'm obviously a little biased since it's our mastermind, is that it's in person. And I've heard this from people over the years that there's just something about that in-person classroom environment. There's something about leaving your business for 3 days and putting your out of office on and being in the room and kind of forcing yourself, getting out of your comfort zone a little bit. As I mentioned, the mastermind, we do a lot of planning, a lot of strategizing. One of the things that's not on the screen here is that we also really take you out of your comfort zone, especially when it comes to content creation. Now, I've said this for years. I don't think as a realtor, you need to become a full-time content creator. I don't think you need to become like the next Kim Kardashian or, influencer. But if you're going to use social media and content to build your business, there are a few things that can really help you with that. And so getting out of your comfort zone and helping you get on camera, helping you create content right then and there, helping you go, okay, which button do I push or which one? And then getting it done, getting it out, getting it posted. I think for a lot of folks, there's also a lot of trepidation with, I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want to look silly. I don't want to mess up. And so there's a little bit of a push outside of your comfort zone. And there's something I think really powerful about being kind of in the room where it happens, right? With a lot of other like-minded folks. I am excited to announce we have a couple featured speakers. So myself, I'm the host. You'll hear from me quite a bit throughout the mastermind, as well as Paul. He's not one of our speakers, but my husband, my business partner, he is there behind the scenes as well. And I love he always has some great insights. He's got a great background in sales and marketing. And so you'll hear from him periodically as he'll pop into the conversation. But our two featured speakers, which I'm really excited about, many of you may know them. If you've been in our academy for any period of time, you've heard from them. Christine George is probably one of the smartest marketing people I know. She runs a marketing agency out in the Boston area called Post and Beam. And Christine has a really beautiful way of talking about branding and voice. And what I have found when it comes to your content is it's one thing to know all the buttons to push. It's one thing to have a schedule. But if you don't really truly know who you want to attract, what really your brand is all about, and your brand, you may have established your brand years ago, but making sure that that's up to date with where the market is right now, I think is so important. Christine is really great at doing some hands-on exercises. We're going to be doing some workshopping with her. We know that everybody learns a little bit differently, so we love to have different types of learning, some of which you'll be writing down, some of it will be on your computer. Last year, we had folks standing up with Post-it notes and doing some kind of vision boarding and all kinds of good stuff. So very excited about what Christine's going to bring to the table. Christine also works with all different types of agents and brokers. So she always brings so many great examples of other people in different markets and what they're doing and how you can implement that based on what your goals are for your business. Marguerite Martin is a dear friend of mine. Marguerite is also a speaker. She is a licensed real estate agent up in Tacoma. She runs movetotacoma.com. She's a podcaster. She's also a business coach, and Marguerite has a very unique business in the fact that she is actually not a selling agent, but Marguerite actually refers all of her business. So a big portion of her income comes from referrals through real estate. And she's also a coach and a trainer and a speaker. And I think one of the beautiful things I love about Marguerite is she really has a great way of talking about what are the actions that you're doing in your business and are those actually delivering results, right? So you might be posting on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube, but is that actually like moving the needle forward? And how do you track that? So she's great about talking about things like business development, mapping out your business plan. She's also done some great training on LinkedIn and what that looks like, especially if you're trying to connect with kind of the C-level executives, not necessarily people who might be hanging out on TikTok. So what's beautiful about this also, and we had Christine and Marguerite last year, and they have freshened up and will be presenting some new material this year, is they aren't just the kind of speakers that are here and then leave, right? They are really a integral part of the event. So you'll get access to them as well as time with them for coaching and consulting. So you might be listening to this and wondering, is this for you? So I want to kind of talk about how you can sort of figure out if it's for you. And at the end, of course, we'll get into the cost and the investment and all of that. And I realize that's a factor. I would say this is for you for a couple of reasons. If you are tired of kind of winging it in your marketing, and if I can be really real, I think a lot of folks kind of wing it, right? It's like, what should I post today? Oh, this is coming up. Oh, I should post something about that. If you were someone who's been doing this a lot in your business, this is absolutely for you. I would say this is also for you if you have been feeling like you need a better plan for your content, for your video marketing, your email marketing, which by the way is also something we cover. Christine and Marguerite do a fantastic job with email marketing. We're going to talk about podcasting, business growth. And so if you feel like you need a better plan for your content, really figuring out where is the best use of your time, how to grow your database, your videos, your email marketing, your overall business growth, but you struggle with just finding the time to sit down and actually map it out. If you've struggled with that, then you're in the right place. You're busy serving clients. I would say that probably the people who get the most out of our mastermind are people who are really busy, right? You're busy serving clients. You're trying to keep up with the market. You're trying to be visible online. You're wearing all the hats, and it can feel exhausting to try to figure it out all by yourself. And that's exactly why we created the mastermind. So the way we look at it is for 3 days, you get to step away from your business, put that out of office on, get out of your everyday routine, right? There's certainly nothing like getting out of your everyday routine to work on your business with a small group of like-minded real estate professionals who are ready to get organized, ready to take their business to the next level and move forward with confidence, which is really, really exciting. Like I mentioned, the dates are November 16th, 17th, and 18th. And I think I actually have a video here. I'm going to play in just a second. Okay, I've talked a little bit about what's included. We've talked about the speakers. I want to take a couple of seconds and talk a little bit about the fun part because one of the reasons why we host in Vegas is it's also a lot of fun. So we have a really fun welcome reception. The way this usually works is we find that most folks fly in. If you're flying in from out of town, most likely on Sunday, the day before. We do have a great room block available with the Bellagio. So we would obviously work with you and make sure you get that all set up so you get a great room rate. And that first night, we have a really great welcome reception at the Beer Park, which is at the Paris Hotel. So we stay at the Bellagio. And then the first night, we have a great welcome reception. And we've actually held our welcome reception here the past few years. It's a really beautiful location. You literally just walk right across the strip and you're right there. And it's facing the beautiful fountains at the Bellagio. I'm just adding a couple people here who are just joining us. Welcome, welcome. If you just joined us, we're just talking all about the mastermind. So we have our beautiful welcome reception on Monday night, and we have some, heavy appetizers and drinks and all kinds of fun stuff. And this is just a really great opportunity to get to know everyone in person, right? Leading up to the mastermind, especially those of you who sign up this week. As I mentioned, one of the reasons we are hosting this webinar this week is because we have our early bird pricing that is happening this week. So between now and November, there's quite a few months in between. And during that time, you'll get to know folks online. Obviously, we'll have some time with our call ahead of time to sit down and work on your plans and your goals. So this welcome reception is a great opportunity to just meet people in person and connect and have some great drinks and bites and all kinds of good stuff. And then, of course, outside of the actual mastermind itself, I often find, and I don't know if you've experienced this as well, that sometimes the best conversations don't come from being in the same room. Sometimes it happens when you are at dinner and you're sitting next to someone and you're having a glass of wine or your favorite drink, Diet Coke, whatever it might be. And so we have a special VIP dinner that we host, and we also have a very special closing party, which really allows for some fun, for conversations. And what that also means is all of your meals are included. So we've got our welcome reception, we've got our full mastermind days with just a beautiful kind of catered spread through the Bellagio. And then we've got our special dinner and closing party. And we haven't yet announced where those are going to be. So stay tuned for that. Okay. So let me go into the agenda. If you have questions, by the way, let me know in the chat. If you've got any questions, you can just type it in the chat. So as I was putting these slides together, I thought there's that saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I figured I could list 1,000 different words of everything we do with the mastermind in 2.5 days. But I figured I would put a few graphics up here just to kind of show you visually what it looks like. And if I were to break down our agenda into kind of 7 big areas, here's what they are. There's a lot of brainstorming, right? And brainstorming, a good friend of mine has often said, he's like, when you brainstorm, you shouldn't backspace yourself. And I love that. When you brainstorm, you shouldn't backspace yourself, which means brainstorm is just brainstorm. Write down the things that come to your mind. Write down the things you've always wanted to do. Write down those ideas that you think, oh, maybe that's kind of a crazy idea. Again, I think so often we spend so much time working in the business that we don't always allow ourselves the time to just dream and brainstorm and think about, well, okay, what do we want to do? And not only that, not only brainstorming business, but also brainstorming what kind of life do you want to lead? I'm a big believer, as a lot of you know, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner. I don't think any of us got into business to work 24/7. So what does that lifestyle look like? What does success mean to you? Of course, we all work for money. Money is important, but it's not the end all and be all, right? And so I always feel like that, the money that you earn it brings that freedom to say who you want to work with, who are your people, and who do you not want to work with? When do you want to work? Do you want to start your day at 6 a.m. or do you want to start it at 10 a.m.? Do you want to take Fridays off? Do you want to take the weekends off? Do you want to have some balance in your life? And I think for a lot of folks, people go, oh, it's real estate. We're going to work 24/7. I don't really think that's sustainable. And I think actually that you can achieve more in life often from saying no to things that don't resonate with who you are and saying yes to the right things. So we do a lot of brainstorming, and you can see from some of the images here on the screen, some of that looks like taking notes. Some of that might look like, doing some Post-it notes, spreadsheets. Everybody learns a little bit differently. Strategizing as well. taking the time to strategize, to do planning. One of the big things that we accomplish at the mastermind is we work on your 12-month content plan for 2027. So again, imagine leaving and you got your plan done, locked and loaded. What that content's going to look like, what's your distribution plan, what does that look like on your calendar? The fourth thing is hands-on, right? Getting that hands-on training. One of the things we did last year that we'll be incorporating this year in our agenda is a ton of hands-on training with video. And you guys know, if you've been in any of my classes online, you know we do a ton of training on video, but it's different in person. It's different when I am standing in front of you and there's 5 of you in front of me. It's a small group, 5, 6, 7 people, and I've got my phone out and it's connected to the TV, and I'm like, okay, so to do this, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit this button. Everybody see that, and we're all gonna do it. And there is something to be said about seeing it in person and having that hands-on experience. Because I know for a lot of folks that the part that a lot of people get stuck on is that last piece of, wait, where's that button? How do I do that? I know you've talked about that, but where does that go? And then actually knowing how to do it and then just getting it done, right? So a lot of hands-on. There's a lot of me walking around going, okay, Tony, let's look at your plan. How's that going on your laptop? All right, cool. Ann, how's that? I know you're brainstorming on your business plan. What do you have going on there? Hey, Dominique, I know you said your goal was XYZ. How's that going? So there's a lot of that that's happening. So hands-on. We talk a lot about your brand. A lot of you mentioned in the chat, you've been in real estate a long time. You probably have a pretty good sense of your brand, but I would imagine it also might be a good opportunity to refresh that. And your brand is a lot more than your logos. It's a lot more than the colors on your website. It's what do people say about you when you're not in the room? And who do you want to attract, right? And the more you can really niche into that, that's a huge opportunity in 2026 and 27, is leaning into your niche. It's not, hey, I serve everybody in Vegas. Hey, I serve everybody in California. Hey, I serve everybody in Maryland. It's no, I love working with people who are XYZ, who live in this area. And the more you can really lean into that and have an opinion about about how you feel about things, especially when it comes to real estate, not just, hey, 3 ways to move to DC, but hey, if my mom were moving to DC, here's the number one thing I would tell her right now. And so that doesn't happen naturally for a lot of people. So kind of bringing that out, helping you with your brand, and then getting into that coaching and workshopping as well. You can see people with their workbooks, their notebooks, their laptops. I always say, bring your cords, bring your chargers. You'll have plenty of room to spread out. We rent out a really beautiful, I think it's like a 2,000 square foot space. It's a really beautiful suite inside the Bellagio. So it's not a big ballroom. I'm going to play just a quick 20-second video that's going to give you a little just sense, because I could talk all about it, but I want to just give you a little 20-second little snippet just to give you a sense of the vibe. Okay, so those little 20 seconds behind the scenes, right? You sound like me, our speakers, people getting stuff done. There's a picture from our dinner. We had a beautiful dinner last year at Carmine's. Lots of food, lots and lots of food. So, all right, that was a little sneak peek behind the scenes there. So what is included? So we talked about the agenda, some of the takeaways. What's included in your ticket? So I'm going to get through the investment and the pricing and all that in just a second. But there's a number of things that are included. And first off, obviously a big part of the event is the event, right? But we also do a pre-event 30-minute Zoom call to strategize and talk about your business. So once you sign up, what happens is, and as I mentioned in the beginning, this week is our early bird special. So as you listen to this, if by the end you're like, yes, I want to be a part of this, and once you sign up, you can pay in full or you can do a payment plan, which I'll talk about in a minute. One of the first things that's going to happen is I'm going to reach out to you and we're going to set up that 30-minute Zoom. You can do that this summer if you'd like. There's some folks who like to do it right away, and there's some folks who would rather do it towards the end of the summer or beginning of fall as we get closer to the event. And during that call, that's the opportunity to talk about your goals, what you want to achieve, what does your business look like? Because this is a small mastermind group, again, there's only 7 or 8 of you plus our 3 speakers. There's basically about 10 or 11 people max in the room. So we want to really make sure that we're customizing this as much as possible. We also share those notes from our call. I share those notes with your permission. I share those with our speakers so they can also customize all of their training and coaching and consulting to really customize it for what you need. The other thing that's included, you will not go hungry at this event. The food is off the chart. And so all of your meals are included, which includes our welcome reception that we have. We also have some really wonderful catered breakfast and lunch every day that are included in the mastermind. The Bellagio does just a wonderful job. One of the reasons we keep going back to the Bellagio is just the hospitality and the experience with their staff. They're absolutely wonderful to work with. We also have a private dinner one night and then our closing reception. So, like I said, you're going to eat really well, right? You also get the 2 full 8-hour mastermind days. We usually start the morning around 8 or so. We usually go to about 8 to 5 every day, obviously with room in there for breaks and meals and things like that. But it's a lot. It's a lot packed in. It's a little bit of a fire hose with myself and our featured speakers. As I said, you get that also that one-on-one coaching time. So it's not just sitting, listening, it's sitting, listening, working, strategizing, planning, getting up, working on your plan, talking to me, doing some one-on-one coaching, as well as time with our featured speakers. I would also say referral connections. I would imagine all of you are with different brokerages, and I would actually be curious, those of you watching live, feel free to type in the chat what brokerage you're with. There's a million different brokerages and franchises that are out there. And I would imagine in your brokerage, whatever network you're already in, you probably have some great connections. But there is something really powerful about connecting with folks in different markets who are potentially in different offices. One of our attendees was with Realty One Group. One of our attendees was with Coldwell Banker. One of our attendees was with Berkshire Hathaway. Another one is, I believe, with App Properties. Another one is with an independent, like just, him and 2 other people. So I think the beautiful part about that is being able to have those connections, because especially when you dig into your content plan and how you come across on social and the marketing that you provide for yourself and your clients, at some point when you have a referral to, let's say you're in Chicago and you need to refer someone to somebody in New York, or you need to refer somebody to somebody in DC or Las Vegas, yes, you might have people in your own franchise or your own brokerage, but you most likely don't know them unless you've met them. We have one of our masterminders from Hawaii. She's come to our event 3 or 4 times, and she has some property in Atlanta. And we have one of our masterminders who's come a few times to our mastermind is in Atlanta. They made that connection at the mastermind and were able to refer some business back and forth, which never would have happened without the mastermind. So I think it's a really beautiful opportunity, to have those connections when needed, right? Those referral connections. Nazanta's Long and Foster and Long. Welcome, by the way, if you just joined us. If you missed the beginning, it's all good. We're recording this, so we'll send out the recording. So again, what's included? The pre-event 30-minute Zoom call, all of your meals, welcome reception, catered breakfast, lunches, closing reception, 2 full mastermind days, one-on-one coaching time with myself and our speakers, priceless referral connections, of course. And then I think the biggest thing, if you were to ask any of our alumni what they generally love, I don't know if it's the most, but one of the biggest big takeaways in terms of like a tangible takeaway is walking away with their 12-month content plan and so much more done. And I also want to address kind of the elephant in the room too, because this has evolved over the years as AI has come up. As a lot of if you use ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, you could go into AI and make a social media plan. But what I think is really, really powerful is that in the age of AI, I think now more than ever, discernment is so important more than ever before. Just like your clients could go on to ChatGPT or Gemini and they could get all the details on how to move and how to find a realtor. There's nothing like actually talking to an expert. There's nothing like actually talking to someone like you who has that 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of discernment, of expertise. And so I have found that that's so important. I was actually just doing a call recently with one of our masterminders, Lee Boffast, who's down in Pasadena. And he was saying, he's like, interestingly, I went into ChatGPT and I was able to pull, some different ideas. He's trying to do some marketing for kind of a specific thing in his neighborhood or his kind of niche area. And he said, what I realized from coming to the mastermind and from being part of the academy is that some of this stuff was okay. And some of it doesn't sound like me at all. And he said, I wouldn't have had that discernment in knowing the difference between what's good, what actually sounds like me, how do I actually want to come across, if I hadn't come to an event like this, if I hadn't taken the time to really work on this craft. And it really is a craft in a lot of ways. Like I said, I don't think any of you need to become full-time content creators. I don't think you need to become influencers or anything like that. But anything worth doing, it takes time and effort to understand and to really make sure that it's the most beneficial to you as possible. And I think especially in this world of AI, look, you guys know if you've followed me for any period of time, I think, AI is not going anywhere anytime soon. I think there's certainly a place for it in terms of, making the most out of your time. But I will say time and time again, when it comes to seeing you and hearing you, I want to see you. I do not want to see the AI version of you. I am not going to teach you how to make an AI twin or how to, fake showing up online. I think we are at a time right now where we look online and we wonder, is that real? Is that fake? Is that real? And that know, like, and trust factor is so important in real estate. We are still dealing with most people's biggest financial decision of their life, right? It is like right up there with getting married, having kids, buying a home. And so I am so passionate about helping agents and brokers show up as their best authentic self, wrinkles, gray hair, makeup, no makeup, however you want to show up, but truly show up as your best self. And so that's a huge part of the mastermind. The event itself also is not just a couple days in Vegas, as fun as it's going to be and as productive as it's going to be. One of the things that we did last year that we are 100% bringing back this year is your ticket. Not only is just is the event 3 days, all the food and all the meetings and all the masterminds, small group environment, but your ticket also includes 6 months of follow-up coaching. We do one group Zoom every single month. So we do one in December, January, February, March, April, and May. For 6 months, we all get back together, and it is a wonderful opportunity to be held accountable, to talk about what's working, what's not working, what do you need help with. In fact, we just finished up our 6-month call from our masterminders last year. And I think the beautiful part about that is they all worked on their plan when they were in Vegas. They all walked away with their 12-month plan, but plans can change, plans can evolve, the market changes, life happens, right? And so being able to work with folks and go, okay, I know we talked about this, but how can we adjust it to this? Or this is working, this isn't working. And the connection that happens is really powerful. It becomes so much more than an event. I still have a group text with that whole group that is still happening. And so that community, I think, is really important. And that's a $1,500 value. So that is also included in your ticket. So if you've ever been to any mastermind event, you could spend $10, $20, $30,000 for a mastermind. And we're really excited to be able to create something and provide something that is not at that level. It's still an investment, right? It's obviously still an investment in your business. The mastermind by itself is regularly priced at $5,000. And we are proud to say that we've never increased that price. That's been the price that we've held since 2018 when we first started our mastermind. But one of the reasons we're doing this call today is because we have rolled out our early bird pricing. So between now and the end of the month, if you are listening to this and going, okay, I'm in, this is what I've been looking for, I want to be a part of this mastermind, I want to be a part of this small group, we would love to have you. As I mentioned, we only do have five spots available. We want to keep it small. So we just have 5 spots left. We've already sold 2 tickets so far to 2 of our past attendees. Annie Van Peter, some of you might know Annie, Joanne Powell as well. She's coming back, which is great. So the pricing, you'll be able to save $1,000. So it's normally $5,000. The regular pricing is $4,000. Some of you, if you're interested and you're ready to get signed up, you can do that. You can pay in full when you're ready to go. The other thing that you could do, if that is not an option, is we do have a payment plan. So if you are interested, but you're not able to pay that full amount, you can break it up into 5 payments. It's $800 a month for the next 5 months. And so basically the way it would work is, and the link is on the bottom of your screen here. So katielance.com/mastermind. There we go. Okay. So when you go to that link, you'll see a ton of information about the event and our speakers and everything. And when you scroll down, you'll see 2 different options. The one is to pay in full at that $4,000 rate. The second is to do that payment option of $800 a month. Regardless of which one you choose, everything is still included. Okay. So the pre-Zoom call with you and I, where we talk about your goals, the welcome reception, all the catered meals, our special VIP dinner, our closing reception, everything we talked about in terms of learning and strategizing at the mastermind, plus our follow-up 6-week coaching. And that happens after our event. I'm actually going to play a quick video. I posted it. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen this. This is a little 30-second video. I wanted you to hear just from a few of our attendees from last year to hear their feedback. Because as much as you can hear from me, there's just something I think about hearing from people who came to the event. So I'm just going to play this really quick. This is, again, just about 30 seconds, and you'll get a sense of the vibe of the event and also from some of the attendees and some of their big takeaways. All right, let me play this real fast.
This mastermind is something I have wanted to do since my very first year in real estate.
The mastermind is part of the overall Kayon's experience, right?
And I love the fact that we have all kinds of agents from all over the country coming. My favorite thing about coming to Kayu's event is that I get to spend time with Katie.
And it's not a lot of fluff.
Yeah, and number one, the plan.
Everybody that she brings on board has current information for it. Probably the best part is making new friends.
Coming there to be with Katie and learn from her has been totally worth it.
It's unlike any seminar or program that I've ever been to before.
I am coming back next year, and all of you should come back with me.
All right. Hopefully you guys heard that okay. I, again, wanted to play that just to give you a sense of what the event's about, especially from folks who've been there before. I do have a QR code up on the screen here. So if you're at a place where you can take out your phone and scan this, when you click that link, that's going to take you over to katielance.com/mastermind. And that's going to give you all of the information on the event and as well as options for signing up. This is one of my favorite quotes. If not you, then who? And if not now, then when? You know, we are coming into that halfway point for 2026. And so regardless if you work with us or not, I just would encourage you to really think about where are you at for the year? Where are you at in terms of your goals? What's working? What's not working? What do you want to double down on as we head into the summer, as we head into the fall? I would also say too that, you know, I'm a big believer in work hard, play hard. I think it's really important when you look at your work and your life that you enjoy what you do, but that you also have a plan and a strategy. And that is what I'm all about. So 2 more things, and then I'm happy to open it up to questions if you guys have any questions. If you are listening to this and you're like, yes, that sounds great, I'm in, awesome, we would love to have you. As I said, we only have 5 spots left, which is why I wanted to take the time today to really walk you through what is involved. Obviously, there is a cost, there is your time, and we have a deadline. So you have until the 31st to sign up. And obviously, you can see the link on the screen here. That'll save you $1,000. You can pay in full, or you can do the payment plans that are available. And once you sign up, you're going to get a couple emails. You'll get an email from me so we can set up your Zoom call to discuss your business goals. And again, we can do that right away in the summer, or if you prefer to wait and do that closer to the event, we can do that also. You'll get an email from Paul, and he's going to send you all the information about the room rates. We've negotiated a great rate with the Bellagio, so he will connect you with that information so then you can get that reserved and get everything ready to go quickly and easily. Last thing here is, again, the dates are on the screen, November 16th, 17th, and 18th at the beautiful Bellagio. If you have questions, if you're a little bit on the fence, feel free to email me if you would like to do a quick chat and talk about it and see if it's really a good fit for you. I'm happy to chat. You can email me, katie@katielance.com. I will put my email in the chat here. As I always say, I always answer all my own emails. And what I want to do really quick, just before we wrap up, let me go ahead and stop sharing this really quick. And I can see all your beautiful faces. Hello, hello. Let me go back over to my screen really quick. And I'm going to share one more time here. There we go. So I just want to pull up the link to the mastermind. I'm going to drop it in the chat one more time just so you guys have it. And I just want to show you, but when you get to this page, you can see as you scroll down, so this link is going to give you the inside scoop that we talked about here on our call about what's included, who this is really for. There's a picture of Christine right there, one of our featured speakers. You can see exactly everything that's included, and including the 6-month coaching. This, by the way, this is a picture at Beer Park. This is our welcome reception. You can see lots of yummy treats right there. You can see some additional information and some pictures. And then if you scroll all the way down, I encourage you, especially if you're on the fence, these are different videos from folks who attended just this past year. So you can click on any of these to really hear from them. I think the beautiful part about the event is we attract all different types of people. Some people are very outgoing. Some people are very quiet. We have, I think, a really great diverse group of people and voices, which I think is really important. We want this to be a really safe space for folks. So, you know, just like in life, you might resonate with some folks, you might not resonate with other folks. But I would encourage you, again, if you're on the fence, to listen to some of the folks that are here. This one in particular on the right-hand side, this is from Joanne Powell. Joanne actually doubled her business she came to our mastermind in 2024. Ended up doubling her business, came back again in 2025. She's coming back again in 2026. And she had a lot of things happen to her personally as well, but she ended up having one of her best years. And a big part of that was having a plan, you know, being able to have not just a business plan, but something that was really manageable for her and something that she could adjust and change. Because life happens, right? Sometimes we get sick, things happen in our family, and having some sort of plan and strategy that we can adjust and change as needed, I think is super, super important. There's a bunch of frequently asked questions right here in terms of what's included, event prices, all that good stuff. And then you'll see at the very bottom our 2 special offers. So as you get to the very bottom here, if you are like, yes, I'm in, let's do this, you can click on either one of these. If I click on this one right here, this will take you to the option to pay in full, and you can see everything that's included in there. So you can pay in full here. The other option, if I go back to this screen, is to do the 5-month payment plan. So that'll be $800. So if you sign up today, which is the 27th, that means every month going forward for the next 5 months, you'll see that charge on your card. And you'll see, again, everything's the same things are included. There's no extra fees for doing that. It's just, we try to make it easy. So let me put that in the chat here for you. 5-month payment plan. Let's see, Anne asked, what are the prices of rooms? We need to double check that. Normally, I don't know if you've ever been to the Bellagio, Anne, the price for rooms is usually anywhere from $300 to $500 a night, depending on what it is, the day that you're staying. I believe our room rate is $229, but I can double check that. I'm going to make a note really quick. I want to say it's either $229 or $249, but let me double check that and I can get back to you for sure. All right. So let me know. What do you guys think? Are we excited? Are we fired up? Do you have questions? Let me know in the chat if you have any specific questions. If you'd like to come on camera and ask me anything, I'm happy to take a minute or two to do that. Or if you don't want to be on camera, you can just unmute. I do want to say that, again, we're really excited about this event. Obviously, it's much different than any other big event you may have attended. I'm sure a lot of you go to, maybe Inman, or you go to NAR, or you go to, I know some of you mentioned you're with Long and Foster. Long and Foster has some great events. I just would encourage you, whether or not you come to our mastermind or not, there's just a lot of powerful in getting together, something really powerful about getting together with a small group of like-minded folks, especially when you get together with folks from all different parts of the country. That collaboration, that ability to work on your business, not just in your business, I think is absolutely priceless. So we're very excited about it, and we would love for you to be a part of it. As I said, we just have 5 spots left. We will max out when we get to 8 attendees total. That is when we are cutting it off. Probably 7 or 8 really is kind of our max. So it's a great small group environment, great opportunity for you to get that one-on-one time to get your plan mapped out once and for all. So let me know if you have any other questions. I want to be respectful of your time. We are at that hour mark, but I really want to thank you guys for tuning in today. I know, as I always say, time is your most precious asset. I feel that deeply. So thank you, everyone. Just let me know if you guys have any questions. Feel free to reach out. Also, you can email me directly, katie@katielance.com. This is being recorded, as I mentioned, so we will send out that recording later today. And then if you're ready to get signed up before the end of the month so you can save with that early bird special. All right, my friends, I hope to see you in Vegas. Thank you so much for being with me today, and we will see you soon. Check your email later today. We'll send you out more information. Bye for now.